وجمال الصوت وتزيينه وتغن فيه وتحسينه وسكون وقت تلاوته وتأن عند قراءته.
أشرف الخلق سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وعنا معهم برحمة رب العالمين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We have 10 minutes inshallah or 15 almost for Maghrib, Allahu A'lam. So we will try and cover as much as we can, pray Maghrib, and then be back again to continue from where we stopped, insha al-Ali al-Qadir. Last week, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, we have covered, which topic did we cover? Help me remember. Al-Waqf wal-Ibtida', which was a big topic. Which part of it did we reach, or where did we get to in that? We spoke about the 4 categories of Al-Waqf.
Yeah.
The Waqf al-Idtirari, which was the urgent stopping, and Al-Waqf al-Ikhtibari, the test stopping, and or the examination stopping. Al-Waqf al-Intidari, which is the waiting stop, and Al-Waqf al-Ikhtiyari, the optional or chosen stopping. And I've also sent you today the presentation, even though I had it ready since subhanallah last night, but I forgot to send it until my last lesson I had, and I sent it during the lesson. Then we spoke about the 4 types of Al-Waqf al-Ikhtiyari, which were the Al-Waqf al-Tam, the fulfilled stopping, and we've explained what that was and we've given examples. Then we spoke about Al-Waqf al-Kafi, the sufficient stopping. Then we spoke about Al-Waqf al-Hasan, the encouraged stopping. And then finally we spoke about Al-Waqf al-Qabih, the disliked or awful stopping, and we spoke about that in detail also, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Which brings us today, or to our lesson for today, which is Al-Ibtida'. Al-Ibtida' is to start something. When you say Ibtadi', it is to start something. When we're speaking here in the science of Quran, Al-Ibtida'u is to start a recitation after either a complete stop, which means after a previous recitation, or stopping and taking a call, speaking to someone or anything else. So, for example, if I was reciting Quran and then I had a phone call, I received a phone call, I stopped my recitation, and it was an urgent phone call also from somebody that I had to, or I was waiting for their call, and I took this call. Now I have cancelled that zone, if you want to call it, and I went to the dunya to take a phone call. When returning to this qira'ah, of course you need to do isti'adha, like we said in isti'adha wal basmalah, and this is basically a start of recitation. And it could also be a start, just a fresh start that one starts, like now if one wants to start recitation, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, bismillahir rahmanir rahim, and then one started the recitation. This is also al-ibtida'. Now, there are certain places in the Quran that one should pay attention to in regards to stopping, to starting, just like we spoke about in stopping. So in the same way we spoke about when one stops in recitation, and that there are certain places one should not stop, and if you stop you need to repeat from the correct place or continue from the correct place. Al-Ibtida' is in the same manner, but I'm going to make it short. There is also, of course, Ibtida' Hasan, a good or encouraged start, and so on and so forth. Lakin, of course, it is not as in the same exact way as Al-Waqf, lakin very similar. But one must always be very careful from where they start again also. So you cannot start from a place where the meaning will not be what? Correct, or that it will give an unintended meaning, or a wrong meaning, or could change it, or could give no meaning. Yeah, all of these are starts that one should not do. And if you fell into it, you must repeat and start from the correct place, insha'Allah ta'ala. What we're going to be speaking about actually here, and I wanted to put in this syllabus that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed for us and give us the ability to write ourselves after, of course, taking from different books and from teachers. We, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, I've only put what I think is very or most important. There are, of course, other things that you may come across in the rules of Quran and so on that one should try and read. That's why after finishing this course, I would encourage every brother and sister to try and read a book of Tajweed, inshallah ta'ala, one of the famous books of Tajweed, inshallah ta'ala, just like the one I have here, which is al-Munir fi ahkam al-Tajweed. Of course, in order for you to have a bigger and a more, inshallah ta'ala, understanding of the ahkam al-Tajweed, of course, especially that you have the strong base, inshallah, that hopefully we have given you and you have taken from us, inshallah ta'ala. So we're going to be speaking about al-ibtida'u bi hamzatil wasl. This is one thing that a lot of people discuss, or a lot of people actually fall into either not understanding it or sometimes guessing it and يعني قدرا that they have guessed it correctly. But it is a rule that one must understand fully, inshallah ta'ala, and that is when you start on this Hamzatul wasl. So, what is Hamzatul wasl, my dear brothers and sisters? Hamzatul wasl is what a lot of people call actually an alif. Lakin it's not an alif. Yes? We mentioned, I think in a previous, or maybe in a few different previous lessons, that Hamzatul wasl, or alif is only an alif if it is what? If it is, no? An alif will only be an alif in the Arabic language. We will only call the alif an alif when? Who's going to tell me? I mentioned this before. When there is? Sister said something? Ahmed, what do you mean by that? A bit more specific, inshallah.
When it's vowed.
No. If the alif is sakin and the preceding letter, the letter before it has a fatha, which means if the only time we will call that alif an alif is if it's in mad condition, where it is sakin and the letter before it has a what? Fatha. That's when we will call the alif an alif. In any other time, Jazakallahu khairan, may Allah reward you. Barakallahu feek. There was no need for the trouble. Subhanallah. Troublemaker. Akramakallah. Barakallahu feek. Jazita khairan. Raqib. See, I remember this now. Jade. In all other times, my brothers and sisters, we will not call the alif an alif. Because the other times, how does it occur? It will either occur as Hamzatul wasl, which is basically just a line itself, or a line itself with the head of a sad on it. Yes? Or it will occur with a Hamza above it or below it. And that will be called what? Hamzatul qata'. Yes? You all know Hamzatul qata'. Hamzatul wasl is the Hamza that is used and when that drops when joining in wasl and is there and pronounced when you are starting on it. So if you are reciting two words and there's a Hamzatul wasl in between them, this Hamzatul wasl when joining these two words will drop, and if you start on that word that has the Hamzatul wasl at the beginning of it, it will be pronounced here. If there is a Hamza or an alif with a Hamza on top of it, it's not called an alif anymore, it will be called Hamzatul qata'. If the same thing, if it's got the Hamza below it, it will be called Hamzat qata'. Hamzat qata', if you want to translate it word by word, it's a cutting Hamza, qata'. Lakin, of course, why is it qata'? Because of the throat, this, yeah, which is the throat doing this, inshallah, which is the bottom of the throat, that's the makhraj of the Hamza. So, again, alif will only be called an alif, my dear brothers and sisters, if it is in mad condition. Moving on to Hamzatul wasl now, which is our topic. Hamzatul wasl, this is a Hamza that is added at the beginning of words, which is pronounced when starting with the word and will be dropped silent when joining words together. It appears like an alif or an alif with the head of the letter sad on it. Yes? The head of the letter sad, yani just the first part. Yeah? But it will be with a bit of a bend, inshallah ta'ala. It's, of course, noticed in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why is this Hamza added, my dear brothers and sisters? Now, of course, this is grammatical and it's to do with the Arabic grammar. We don't get into this too much, inshallah ta'ala. Lakin it's important to know that this Hamza is not originally there. And it has only been added because the word originally starts with a letter that is sakin. And due to the difficulty in starting a word with a sukoon letter, they have added Hamzatul wasl, yes, which is called the joining Hamza. That is what, or the connecting Hamza, that is put there and will be pronounced with a suitable vowel in order for the word to be at ease in pronunciation, inshallah ta'ala, or for us to find an ease in pronouncing that word, inshaAllah ta'ala. Is that clear? Yes or no? Jameel. Are the sisters with me? Okay. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. When starting with Hamzatul al-wasl, my dear brothers and sisters, so now there are certain words in the Quran where they will have a Hamza. For example, irji'i, ud'u, yes? And many other words. Iftara. Now, all these words, how do I know, or how do you know, which vowel you should be giving this Hamza? And that's what we're going to be learning now. There are rules that we're going to be pointing out, inshallah, in order for it to become clear for you what to give this Hamza. Yes? Because some books, يعني جزاهم الله خيرا, they try and make it a bit easy for brothers and sisters, and they say, follow the third letter's vowel. Ud'u. But it's not always the case. Yes? It's not always the case. For example, irtada, the third letter has a fatha, and I gave Hamzatul al-wasl a kasra. So there are rules that will be helping us, inshallah, decide what to give Hamzatul al-wasl when we start. And of course, if you are joining the two words, then it will be dropped, and it will be as if it does not exist, inshallah ta'ala. When starting with Hamzatul al-wasl, we will either give the Hamza a fatha, kasra, or dhamma. We will decide what to give it depending on the word Hamzatul al-wasl is in. It could appear in a noun, a verb, or particle. And below is an explanation of all this, inshaAllah ta'ala. Number one, we're going to be speaking about Hamzatul al-wasl that occurs or appears within what? Nouns. Shall we start on this now or after Maghrib? After Maghrib? Yeah, I think after Maghrib. So we're going to be speaking about, inshaAllah ta'ala, after Maghrib, after Salatul Maghrib, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, of Hamzatul al-wasl when it occurs in nouns, and what vowel would we be giving it then. And then we will be speaking after that about Hamzatul al-wasl in particles and then verbs, bi'idhnihi azza wa jalla sha'nuhu. Inshallah ta'ala, you are free to go, and we will be back with you soon, inshallah. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اقتفى بأثره واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Before Salat al-Maghrib, we just touched on the Hamzat al-wasl and gave an introduction about Hamzat al-wasl, alhamdulillah. And we spoke about Hamzat al-wasl and said that it could occur within nouns, verbs, or particles. We said we'll start off with Hamzat al-wasl when it occurs in nouns. Hamzat al-wasl in nouns occur in either standard words or specific words. And I'll explain what I mean by these two things. Which in Arabic, standard words are qiyasi. Yes? And the specific words are sama'i. Yeah, or sama'i. So when we say that nouns can only occur within words, nouns, we're talking about the nouns, yeah? Hamzat al-wasl in nouns will only occur in words that are standard. So basically it has a rule that any word that meets this rule, then and it has a Hamzat al-wasl, then it is amongst those. Or by specific words. When we say specific words, that means it's just a number of words that are memorized. Yes, that you will have to memorize, like 7, 6, 5 words, and so on, that are known and that are only repeated once in the Quran. Jayd, inshallah ta'ala, do you now have a rough understanding of what the difference between standard and specific words are when we're talking about these nouns here? Yes? No? You understand? Okay. Sisters, shall I repeat? Okay. Jayd. The brothers and sisters are just settling, so we will repeat with them, inshallah ta'ala. Jayd. We said that words Hamzat al-wasl in nouns occurs in either standard words or specific words. You see, I have a S missing here after occurs. So Hamzatul wasl in nouns occurs in either standard words or specific words. Standard words, we said, are words that have to meet a certain rule. So we will set a rule saying, for example, x plus y or x times y equals c, whatever, yeah? So now any word that meets the rule we're going to be setting, inshallah, will be one of those standard words. And it could be repeated in different words and then multiple times in the Quran. When I say specific words, or when the book of course says specific words, it means only specific words, which is usually a little number that you can remember and you must memorize. Is that clear, my dear brothers and sisters, now or not? Yes? Sisters? Jayid. Standard words would be in any noun that has a root word that consists. So now I'm defining it professionally, yes? What is this rule that makes these words standard? Standard words would be in any noun that has a root word that consists of 5 letters, such as اختلافي, افتراءً, or 6 letters, such as istikbara or istighfar. Now, of course, here we need to stop and we need to explain all of what I said because it's not clear. Or it needs a bit of explanation. And I do hope the presentation is in front of you. Do you have the presentation? It will help you a lot that when I read, you pay attention. And of course, there are some examples, and I'll be explaining everything according to what we have written, inshallah, in this presentation. So, standard words would be in any noun that has a root word. Now, in every word, in the af'al or asma in the Arabic language, in the words in the Arabic language, they have root words. Yes. So, for example, when we say يعمل, what's the root word of يعمل? If anybody here has studied Arabic, عمل جزيت خيرا, which is basically the what do you put it? How do you know the root of a word? You put it in its past tense about somebody, yeah, or a third party. عمل, he worked. Yes. So you put it in its masculine past tense about a third party, and this is the root of the word. So it's saying here, what will make this Hamzatul wasl occur in the nouns of standard words is the rule that says the following, that in any noun, the noun must have a root word that consists of either 5 letters or 6 letters. In the word I gave, so look now, I said يعمل. What's the root word of this? We said عمل. عمل is how many letters? 3. So the root word of يعمل is how many letters? Has how many letters? 3. Let's take another example that has Hamzatul wasl in it. اضرب. What's the root word of اضرب? Even though this is not a noun, it's a verb. لكن this word here, اضرب. What is the root word for this, أخي? ضرب. How many letters? ضرب. How many? Does it meet this rule? Because the rule says in front of you that it will occur in any noun that has a root word that consists of 5 or 6 letters. So the root word must have 5 letters max, or 6. Yes? Not the word itself. The word might have 10, it's not that, but it might have 7 letters. But that root word of that word must be 5 or 6 letters. If any noun like that, and it has a Hamzatul wasl in it, its root word consists of 5 letters or 6 letters, then it meets the rule here, which is what? That you give Hamzatul wasl, in this case, a kasrah. And we got examples. So, the words that Hamzatul wasl occurs in, and it's a noun, where this noun has a root word of 5 letters, there are 2 examples here that we have, but of course there are many others. اختلاف. Can you see the example we have? It starts the slide starts with Hamzatul al-wasl in nouns. That's the first thing on the slide. It says number 1, Hamzatul al-wasl in nouns if you do not know where it is. So have you found the yeah, good. So لا بأس. Look at these examples we have. اختلاف. How many letters do we have there? Here, count them for me, أخي Muhammad. Have you found the example? اختلاف. Show it to him, Habib, if you have found it. No. You got Hamzatul al-wasl. Then you have the kha, that's 2. Then the ta, that's 3. Then the lam with the fatha, that's a 4th. Then the alif sakina, that's a 5th. And then the fa, that's a 6th letter. So we have a word here, or a noun, that has 6 letters. Now we need to know what the root word is for this noun. So we need to put it in its past tense, which becomes what? Who knows the past tense for this? اختلف. اختلف. That's the past tense for this word. Which is, you're going to do one thing. You're going to remove that alif, which is after the lam. And it will become اختلف. And اختلف is a root word of اختلاف. And that root word, which is اختلف, consists of how many letters? Say that again. I cannot hear. 5. Yes. 5. Because you took one away. The next word, iftira. We have Hamza, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. And the the root word for this noun, iftira'an, is iftara. Iftara. So Hamzatul al-wasl, fa, ta, ra, and then alif. Or alif maqsoora, yes? Which is 5. So now we must know, of course, we're going now to grammar. Lakin it's important, that's why we say for the brothers and sisters to study the Arabic language. Yeah? So here, these words, the root word consists of 5 letters. Now we're going to take the next 2 examples, which the root word for those 2 examples consists of 6 letters. Yes? So we have here istikbara. Istikbara is how many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is the root word of istikbara? Say that again, Ukhti. Istakbara. So you've removed 2 letters, but in fact, this alif at the end, anyway, here is not originally there. It's istikbar, so it's 7 letters. You removed 1, it became 6. This alif is there because of madd al-iwad, that you guys are professional in, inshallah. We're hoping that you are, because you're supposed to be revising this and you should know it. Jayyid, because we've covered it, alhamdulillah. So this alif is not originally there. We only put it there if we're going to stop saying istikbara. Jayyid. So 8 letters been brought to 6 in its root word. Its root word, the root word of this noun, my dear brothers and sisters, consists of how many letters? Istakbara. How many letters? Can you answer? I cannot hear. 6. Barakallahu feek. So we have 6 letters. And the same thing in istighfar. استغفار إبراهيم. Yeah? ما كان استغفار إبراهيم. استغفار is a word here, a noun that has how many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Its root word is what? استغفر. The sisters have got the mashallah, the upper hand today. The brothers are slacking. جيد, mashallah. So istaghfara is the root word of this noun, istighfar. And istaghfara consists of how many letters, ikhwati wa akhawati? 6 letters. So does it meet the standard rule that a Hamzatul al-wasl that occurs. So the rule says, of course, if you read this whole paragraph after understanding what we said, you will know why we're talking about this. We're talking about this in order for us to give Hamzatul al-wasl a kasra. So the rule says, if you see any noun that meets the standard rule, which is that the root word of that noun has a 5 or 6 letters word, 6-letter word, 5 or 6-letter word, then you will give Hamzatul al-wasl when starting on that noun a kasra on that word. Is that clear? So, اختلاف, I started with Hamzatul al-wasl, a kasra. Iftira, I gave Hamzatul al-wasl here a kasra also. Same thing in the 6 rooted words here. The words that have a 6-letter rooted word, which is istikbara, I gave Hamzatul al-wasl a kasra. And the same thing in istighfar, I've also given the Hamzatul al-wasl here a what? Kasra. Is this clear, my brothers and sisters, or not? Crystal clear? Alhamdulillah. Then the next part is very easy, and that's the specific words. There are only 7 specific words where Hamzatul al-wasl occurs. Of course, now we're still talking about Hamzatul al-wasl within nouns. So these words, again, like I told you, my brothers and sisters, after I finish the syllabus, and I have one more presentation to do, which is for next week. And next week, bi'idhnillahi azza wa jal, will be our last week. Inshallah. It does, like I said last week, it does sadden one, for this lovely and blessed gathering, of course, because of knowing the ajr in this gathering. Like we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the ability to always be of those that spread this knowledge, inshallah, and khair. And that's for myself and for you. All of you, you are responsible now for this knowledge that you've gained. And you will be asked about it. So we ask Allah to make us at that level and take this responsibility in the way and the manner that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, there are only specific nouns. I put words here, but it's better to put nouns so it could be clearer for the reader. There are only 7 specific nouns where Hamzatul al-wasl occurs. Yes? So now there are standard ones, rule or words, we spoke about that. It has to meet the rule, and we spoke about that also, of the rule. Now coming to the ruling of the specific words, there are only 7 that come in the Quran. Yes? Which are 7 nouns, you must memorize, inshallah ta'ala. And these 7 nouns are nouns that do not meet the rule of the standard words. So they do not have a root word that consists of 5 or 6 letters. Which are these 7 words here. And that is ibna, it could come as ibnu, ibnata, imri'un, imra'ata, ithnain, ithnatain, and ism. So ibnu, ibnata, imra'ata, ithnaini, ithnataini, ismun, and imra'atun. I said ibnu, ibnata, imri'un, imra'atun, ismun, and I forgot the one second. Ibnu, ibnata, ithnaini, ithnataini, imri'un, imra'atun, and or imra'ata. And it could come in different forms, by the way. And the last one, ismu, or isma, or ismun. Yes? Is that clear? And it could occur, these specific 7 words could occur and come up in different places in the Quran. And not only that, it could come with in different forms, with different letters. Ibni, ibna, for example, imri'in, in imri'un halaka, for example, imra'ata fir'aun, and so on. Ithnaini, ithnataini, ismu, isma, ismun. Wallahu a'lam. Yes? Inshallah ta'ala. The last one here. So you got isma, for example, when you have Ya Maryamu inna Allah yubashiruki bi kalimatin minhu ismuhu. Ismuhu. That's also one. Ismuhu. Yeah? They could come basically in different forms. Just remember that. So if you see, ismu, then there is a ha. Oh, subhanAllah, our teacher didn't tell us about this one. He just told us without the ha, and it got Hamzat wasl. No, I told you, it comes in different forms, inshallah. So do please try and remember them, bi'idhnillahi azza wa jal. Inshallah, we ask Allah to give us the khair of these classes, and we ask Allah to give us the khair of this dunya and akhirah, inshallah. In all the above, Hamzatul wasl will be given what? In all the above that is mentioned, Hamzatul wasl will be given what? A kasra when starting on those words. So if you start on any word, my brothers or sisters, if you start on any noun that starts with a Hamzatul wasl, and that has a root word that consists of 5 or 6 letters, you will have to give it this Hamzatul wasl a kasra. And if you start on any of the specific 7 words memorized, ibnu, ibnata, ithnaini, ithnataini, imri'un, imra'ata, ismu. If you start on any of those 7 words, then you will give Hamzatul wasl here also a what? Kasra. Is this ruling here crystal clear about when Hamzatul wasl occurs in nouns? Yes or no? Alhamdulillah. Let's move on now to the next stage, which is when Hamzatul wasl occurs in different in particles. And I'm hoping ikhwati wa akhawati to finish inshallah ta'ala the topic of Hamzatul wasl plus the topic of Sakt. I know it's 9:30 almost. That clock is a bit 5 minutes ahead, but do you mind if I go on? There is not much left for Hamzatul wasl. Let's finish Hamzatul wasl anyway, inshallah, and then we will see if we will speak about Sakt rule. Sakt rule isn't long either. So, number 2 is Hamzatul wasl in particles. Hamzatul wasl does not occur in particles except for those starting with ta'rif, which is the definite article al. Any word that starts with lam al-ta'rif or ta'rif, Hamzatul wasl, lam, that Hamzatul wasl at the beginning will always be given what? We're going to come to that. A fatha. Yes? So, Hamzatul wasl will only occur in particles that start with ta'rif. Yes? Are you with me, my brothers and sisters? You with me? Akhawati? Jay. So, Hamzatul wasl does not occur in particles except for those starting with ta'rif, which is the definite article al. The vowel that will be given in this example, or in this case, will always be a fatha, such as al-ard, as-sama', al-musawwir, yes, al-khaliq, al-bari, al-musawwir. Now, when I'm joining, the Hamzatul wasl drops anyway. But if you start on it, al-khaliq, al-bari, al-musawwir, وهكذا. You see how I'm giving Hamzatul wasl here when starting on it? What? What am I giving it? Fatha. Is this one crystal clear as well or not? Yes? Sisters? I didn't hear that? Jayyid, khalas. Move on inshallah. Sometimes when I speak loud, you can't hear very well. Labas. The third and final way that Hamzatul wasl occurs is in verbs. And this is also like we're going to have to be focused inshallah. Hamzatul wasl occurs in specific verbs only. Yes? It will only occur in the past tense of words that have a root of 5 or 6 letters. Such as iqtaraba, and I forgot to highlight this word, and I will highlight it and resend this anyway, inshallah, to you bi'idhnillah. So, it will only occur in the past tense of words that have a root of 5 or 6 letters, such as iqtaraba or istaghfara, respectively. So, Hamzatul wasl will occur in verbs that have a root word of 5 or 6 letters. That's the first way it could occur. It could also occur in imperative verbs, which means that verbs that are ordering. For example, if I tell you ishrab, drink. So that is what? A imperative verb whose roots in the past tense are 3, 5 or 6 lettered words, or letter words. Yes? So, it will also occur in imperative verbs whose roots in the past tense are 3, 5 or 6 letter words. Such as idrib, daraba. That's the root word of it, 3 letters. And it's an imperative verb, an ordering verb. انطلقوا انطلق Hamza, Noon, Ta, La, Qa. 5 letters. Istaghfir, the root word, same thing, but you change the ra with a fatha. Istaghfara. Istaghfara. 6 letters. Hamzat wasl, Sin, Ta, Ghain, Fa, and Ra. These are the root word of it has what? 6 letters. So we're going to repeat this again. Hamzatul wasl in verbs will occur in verbs, in specific verbs that will occur, it will only occur in the past tense of words or verbs that have a root of 5 or 6 letters, such as iqtaraba. That is, what's the root word of this? Huh? That's the root word. Barakallahu feek. That's the root word itself. So its root word here, iqtaraba, and there could be others, is what? 5 letters. And it could also occur in words that, or verbs that what? Have a root word of 6 letters. Such as istaghfara. And that's a root word for it as well. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the root word of it. Yes? So, it will only occur in the past tense of words that have a root of 5 or 6 letters. And we said also that it could occur, the Hamzat al-wasl, in imperative verbs whose roots in the past tense are what? 3, 5 or 6 letter words. So now the first one we spoke about, it's not in its past, the word is already in its past tense. But the next words we have, it's an imperative verb. It's not in its past tense. Are you with me, brothers and sisters? So the imperative verbs we're talking about, they are not in their past tense. So the root word of them when they be, or the root word in the past tense will have to be a word that consists of 3, 5 or 6 letters. Now in the first one we said that the word itself, its root will be 5 or 6 letters, and it's in its root anyway. And it's not an imperative verb. Yes? Is that clear? And we have examples. اضرب, that's the imperative verb, and its root word is ضرب, which consists of 3 letters. Then an example of the root word of these imperative verbs in the past tense that consists of 5 letters is انطلقوا, and its past tense is انطلق, and it is the root word of انطلقوا, which has how many letters? 5. Then finally we have an example of a imperative or an imperative verb that its root word consists of 6 letters, which is istaghfir. The root word of that is istaghfara, which consists of 6 letters. Is that clear, my brothers and sisters? Yes or no? Crystal clear? Jayid. Moving on. We still here speaking about the Hamzat al-wasl that occurs in verbs. On the next slide. The vowel that will be given to Hamzat al-wasl in verbs is either a kasrah or what? Dhammah. So, in all the previous examples, in number 3, we will give Hamzat al-wasl what? A kasrah. We will give, now we're talking about this now, inshallah. We will give Hamzat al-wasl a kasrah if the third letter of the verb has a fatha or kasrah. Such as the following. Look at it all from the right to the left. Yes? Wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah. Isrif, idhabu, irji'i, irtada, ihdina, inqalab. All of these verbs, my dear brothers and sisters, what does the third letter have? Either a what? Or a? And what have I given Hamzat al-wasl throughout all of these examples? A kasrah. Yes? And some of these words, isrif, the first one on the right, is an imperative verb that its root word consists of 3 letters. Sarafa. Idhabu is also an imperative verb that its root word consists of 3 letters. Dhahaba. Irji'i is also an imperative verb that what? Its root word consists of 3 letters also. Raja'a. Yes? So we are talking now about all of these words. You do it in the same way, just like the slide before when we spoke about you go to the root of the word. Yes? For example, ihdina hada. You put it in its past tense. Yeah? Irtada, rada. Inqalaba. What is it? Qalaba. Jayid. So all of these ones we have here are examples of what? Verbs that have a root word of 3 letters. But of course, let's look at the next one. It says, we will give Hamzat al-wasl a dhammah if the third letter of the verb has an original dhamma, such as ubtuliya, ujtuthat. I got a wrong vowel here on the second word. It says ujta. It's ujtu. This ta should have a dhamma. I will correct that. It's ujtuthat. Ustuhfidhu utlu. وهكذا. But now the first slide in the introduction of Hamzatul al-wasl that occurs in verbs, you don't need to know actually this, that what's the root word for it and stuff. Why? Because going to the next slide, you always look at the third letter. I'm going to make it very easy for you to remember now, but as a professional person, you must know this introduction I've given of Hamzatul al-wasl that occurs in verbs, which is the root word that consists of either 5 or 6, or in imperative verbs that the root word for it consists of 3, 5 or 6 letters. Yes? So all the examples in the first line we have of the second slide here are all imperative verbs. And all of them actually have a root word that consists of 3 letters. There are some other examples actually, ikhwani wa akhawati, just like the previous example, istaghfara. Look, go back to the last slide. Istaghfara is as an imperative verb that its root word has 6 letters, not 3. And the third letter here has a what? Fatha. So I give Hamzatul al-wasl here a kasra. And just above it, when we say iqtaraba, iqtaraba is what? A verb, but it's not an imperative verb. And its root word is what? Consists of 5 letters. In fact, inqalaba is like it. Iqtaraba and inqalaba. Inqalaba, you do not say the root word is qalaba. Yes? So we did a mistake there. It's inqalaba, like it is. So that is an example just like iqtaraba. Yeah? And also istaghfara is also a verb that is not an imperative verb. Yeah? However, its root word consists of 6 letters, and the third letter has what? A fatha. So therefore I give Hamzatul al-wasl what? What do I give Hamzatul al-wasl, my brothers and sisters? A kasra. So a rule that you could understand and it becomes very easy for you without the need to knowing this imperative and the other root words we were speaking about, but it's very important you know it. Now I'm only talking about verbs, not in nouns. In nouns you need to know. In verbs, you just follow the rule. If the third letter of the verb has a fatha or kasra, you give Hamzatul al-wasl a kasra, and there is no exceptions for this rule. Is that clear or not? And in fact, books of Tajweed, they make it easy and say it like that. Now I'm not trying to make it difficult here, but I'm trying to give you the reason behind it, and one must know, as a professional teacher, inshallah, you should be knowing this, inshallah, very well. And of course, the rule here, you know, if any verb, the third letter has any verb that starts with Hamzatul al-wasl, and the third letter has a fatha or kasra, you will give Hamzatul al-wasl when starting on that verb a kasra, no matter what, and there are no exceptions for this. Is that clear? Is that clear, my brothers and sisters? Yes or no? Jayyid. Now we are moving on to when do we give Hamzatul al-wasl in a verb a dhamma? Because in verbs we said we will either give Hamzatul al-wasl a dhamma or kasra. In nouns, what do? We either give Hamzatul al-wasl a kasra or a fatha. But fatha are in particles. Yes? Jayyid. So some books, they will put for you this particles, al-ard and this, they will put it for you amongst the nouns, which is not wrong. Yeah? Is that clear, my brothers and sisters? Jayyid. So we will give Hamzatul al-wasl a dhamma if the third letter of the verb has an original dhamma. Now you might ask me, how do I know if the third letter has an original dhamma? We're going to speak about this now. We've given here 4 examples of words that the third letter has a dhamma, and this dhamma is original. However, if the third letter of the verb has an unoriginal dhamma, then we will give Hamzatul al-wasl a kasra. And this occurs in 4 words in the Quran only. So once you memorize these 4 words, you will know that any other verb that starts with Hamzatul al-wasl and that third letter has a dhamma, you know that dhamma is what? Original. Simple. What are those 4 words? Itu, imshu, ibnu, iqadu, and they can come in different forms in the Quran, such as iti. Yeah? Or ituni. That's another one in Surah Al-Ahqaf. and other examples, inshallah. Now, I have one word that is at the beginning, and I have it highlighted in red. Yes or no? Next week, which is the note I have written at the bottom of the slide, we will come to that. Lakin, do you know now when the verb has, when the third letter in the verb has an original dhamma or not? Yes or no? And what's the reason, my dear brothers and sisters? We're going to make it clear now. In fact, I think it's written under it. Yes, the original vowel of the third letter in the above words is a kasra. In the above four words, which basically the dhamma on the third letter is not original. These words, the third letter's original vowel is not a dhamma. It is what? A kasra. However, due to the appearing waw, or due to the waw appearing, we give the letter before it a dhamma as it is the suitable vowel sound to the waw. You cannot have a kasra before a waw. Isn't it? Waw, sakina here. All of these words have a waw sakina. Can you ever have a waw sakina with a kasra before it? Never. It will either come with a dhamma before it or a fatha, and fatha will be lean. But they put dhamma because it's the most suitable sounded vowel to come before what? The waw. Yes or no, brothers and sisters? Do you know now why this dhamma on the third letter is not original? Yes. You must remember this, inshallah. And remember that the reason for this is that this waw has occurred. Therefore, they have put the dhamma on the letter before it in order for it to be pronounced easily. Yes? Now, the note we have here is that it says the word in red is not included as we cannot start on the hamza. Yes? Wemdu, we cannot start on imdu. However, if you was to start on imdu, it will follow the same rule as the other four words. If you was to start on imdu, you will give Hamzatul al-wasl a kasra due to the dhamma on the third letter being an unoriginal dhamma. However, we cannot start on this hamza. Why? As the waw, which is before this hamza, is a conjunction which is connected to the word, to the words I put, but it's connected to the word and cannot be read without it, which is called waw al-atf. Huruf al-atf, the conjunction letters in the English language. Yes, in the grammar we're talking about here, which is waw al-atf, the word cannot be pronounced without this without this waw. Is that clear? This means there are four words in the Quran that occur with a third letter having an unoriginal dhamma only, because that fourth word you cannot start with that Hamzatul al-wasl. But obviously, this fifth word is a word that the third letter here doesn't have the original dhamma. So I'm going to delete actually this last part. This means there are four words in the Quran that occur with a third letter having an unoriginal dhamma. There is actually five words that the third letter doesn't have an original dhamma. But with regards to Hamzatul al-wasl, there are only four. Because we cannot, with regards to starting on Hamzatul al-wasl. Because that fifth word, which is in red, we cannot start on that Hamza. We must start with that waw due to this waw being directly connected with this word, which is a conjunction to the word, or which is known in the Arabic language as waw al-atf. Yes or no, my brothers and sisters? Is it crystal clear or not? Yes? Yeah?
But I know, inshallah, I have to do more research, because it's my second time.
La bas, of course, when one doesn't, of course, come to a class continuously from the beginning to the end of it, throughout the course, obviously, speaking about certain rules might sound to some of us like Chinese. Lakin, one must try, inshallah ta'ala, and do ijtihad and strive to attend all these lessons, inshallah ta'ala, and any opportunity of learning the Quran, both in reciting it and understanding it, inshallah. There was a question somewhere? Yes?
Could you repeat please point about starting? I didn't catch that.
Starting where?
Starting on Hamzatul al-wasl, like you can't start on Hamzatul al-wasl, only four words or something.
No. I was saying, there is a sentence I have at the bottom of the slide. It says, this means there are four words in the Quran that occur with a third letter having an unoriginal dhamma. But that sentence, if you read it just like that, it is wrong. But that sentence, what I mean in this, is with regards to starting on Hamzatul al-wasl. Because this fifth word is a word that the third letter has a dhamma, but this dhamma is unoriginal. However, in regards to starting on Hamzatul al-wasl, which is our main subject today, we cannot what? Start on that Hamza, which is in that fifth word, due to this waw before it being directly connected, or what is called as a conjunction, which is waw al-atf, which makes it, with regards to starting on Hamzat al-wasl, in the ruling of Hamzat al-wasl, there are only 4 words that have a third letter that has an unoriginal dhamma. But it's speaking in the Arabic grammar or Arabic language in general, there are 5 words in the Quran that have a third letter that has an unoriginal dhamma, where there is a Hamzat al-wasl involved. Where there is a Hamzat al-wasl involved. Is that clear, inshallah? Sisters, is it clear? Say that again. Yes, Jayd. Jayd. And the brothers? Sorry for pushing, but you know me, this should be off the camera, but inshallah, it could be cut. Is that I want to make sure that everybody, inshallah, understands. Don't just say yes and you don't understand. I'll repeat for you if you do not understand, inshallah ta'ala. So this is us done with what? Hamzatul wasl. Is it all clear? Yes or no, my dear brothers and sisters? Yes? Good. Shall we start on sect rules or leave it till next week? Because I cannot do any lessons after next week. Because the week after next is going to be a day or 2 before Ramadan. Yes? So next week I want to make sure it's our last week. So if we don't finish sect today, I don't mind, but I will stay with you next week until we finish everything. And there is not much left anyway for next week. So it's totally your choice. We can do it next week, there is no problem, but the lesson will be a bit longer. It might actually be, because what's left, if I cover sect now, what's left is only miscellaneous rules in the Quran, which are only a few, not too many. So I can give you sect next week, but I just wanted to do it today because it's in the same presentation as al-waqf wal-ibtida', because a sect is kind of a type of stopping, so we have put it in the same presentation as stopping and starting. So we can continue sect or cover it next week. What do you want? And we'll give the priority to the sisters due to the late time, as it is 10 to 10. It is? Fine? Brothers? Now? And our cameraman, of course. Yes? So, the ruling of sect. What does a sect mean? It's easy, inshallah. You're gonna be thankful that we finished it today, because it's very easy, inshallah. And it's nice. What is the ruling of sect? What does sect mean? If you tell your child or you tell somebody uskut, it means be quiet. Now I'm talking in nom. Like when coming to the Quran, uskut, if you're reciting Quran and I tell you uskut, it means to again be quiet, but not in that way. It means to stop without taking a breath. And when sometimes you say it so, when you're telling off someone, it sometimes can come across in a rude way. Because you're telling him, stop, don't take a breath. Just silent. I don't hear anything. I don't even breathe. Yeah? Like now coming to the Quran again, back to the Quran. And of course, this is not from the etiquettes of Ahl al-Quran. May Allah make us from Ahl al-Quran. J. Sect. It is a stop on specific words without taking a breath, with the intention to continue with the following words. With what comes after it. It appears with a scene between the word one needs to stop on and the following word. So the word you're going to pause on, just above it, between it and the next word, there will be a little scene, which will be a sign for you to know where to pause. So here, it's called a stop. Now, I forgot to add something actually, subhanAllah, which is, I personally like calling it a pause. And there are books actually that do call it pause. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but it should be a pause more than a stop. Yes? It is a stop. I should have put it is a pause. Yes? So that will be corrected, inshallah ta'ala. There is a number of things that will be corrected tonight, subhanallah. It's only, inshallah, it will all be done before bi'idhnillah this time. It's put up bi'idhnillah azza wa jal. Jayd. There are 2 categories of sect, my brothers and sisters. And which are what? Obligatory and permitted or optional. Known as permitted or optional. And obligatory. So the sect in the qira'ah of Hafs from the way of Shatibiyyah is split into 2 categories. Wajib and Jaiz. obligatory and permitted or optional. Yes? Are you with me, brothers and sisters? Nice and easy. There are also, what we need to keep in mind, is that there are 6 sakt rules in the Quran, in the recitation of Hafs and Asim from the way of Shatibiyyah, as illustrated below. Firstly, we'll be speaking about the obligatory sectors. Yes? The obligatory sects, there are 4 which are wajib in the riwayah of Hafs from the way of Shatibiyyah. Surah Al-Kahf is the first one. In Surah Al-Kahf, sorry, we're coming backwards from that. In Surah Al-Kahf, between verse 1 and 2, yes, between verse 1 and 2 of Surah Al-Kahf, only when you join the 2 verses, which is not the norm anyway, because it's sunnah to what? We said this in last week's lesson or the week before. It is sunnah to stop at the end of every verse. Except for one, like I gave an example of Surah Al-Ma'un. فَوَيْلُ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ. It's better to join here, inshallah. So here in Surah Al-Kahf, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين. Now what did I do when I joined these 2 verses, إخواني وأخواتي? Did you pay attention? What did I do in the recitation between these 2 verses? No. I did a waqf. I stopped. Pause is sakt. Waqf is stop. I took a breath. So I did a normal stopping. And that's what you will normally do. However, if once Sheikh Muhammad wanted to recite and join the 2 verses, then it is obligatory for you to do the ruling of sakt, which is to do a pause without taking a breath. Is that clear, my brothers and sisters? As you see on the slide, it says after the full stop, after 2, it will only be obligatory when joining the 2 verses. So if you are not joining the 2 verses, there is no sakt anyway. Is that clear or not? Brothers and sisters, is that clear or not? Clear? Sisters? Clear? Just tell me yes, inshallah ta'ala. Huh? We need to know. I don't know. Huh? I could repeat if you want. Jayid, clear. They say as-sukut alamat al-rida. Silence, now we're talking about sukut, sakt. Silence is a sign of acceptance, which means you understand. You understand, sisters? No. Okay. Jazakallah khairan. There's no problem with it. I get happy when you say to me, no, it's easy. And it's easy also to say yes. No means, for me, I need to explain again, labas. Sorry for pushing, like, and I do care that everybody understands, inshallah. So, when I'm reading Surah Al-Kahf, when you are reciting, my dear brothers and sisters, Surah Al-Kahf, and if you're going to join the 2 verses, which is the number 1 and number 2, I have not given the example of it yet. I have not recited it yet when joining. But if I was reciting and I didn't want to join the 2 verses, then there is no ruling of sakt. But when I join the 2 verses, then it becomes obligatory for you to apply sakt. I cannot say, this is what you cannot say in the qira'ah of Hafs. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما. Normally, looking at, there is a tanween, the next letter is a qaf, ruling of ikhfa. But you are not allowed to do this in the qira'ah of Hafs ibn Shatibiyyah. Say that again. Jayyid. Now, firstly, before the hikmah of it, Jazakallah khairan ukhti, it is a way that the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has recited. So this itself will give us, as Muslim, there is no need for us to ask further of, is there a reason, what's the reason? Yes? if the Rasul it has come and reached us in a authentic narration or chain, then there are no questions. It is what? A way to follow. And if you follow this way, then you have to apply it in this way. Because it's followed with a chain which is authentic, inshallah. Now, some of them, it has a hikmah. For example, when I say, وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ, this pause brings the attention. Like in Surah Al-Mutaffifin, when you say, كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ, it is locked upon their hearts. كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. It gives more of a meaning. Yes? So these sectors are what? Of course, this is in one of the ways. Lakin, if I was to say to you this is the hikmah behind it, in the other recitations, the other 10 qurra, they differ in some of these rules. So does that mean they don't have the hikmah and in here they do? No, kalla. All of it is from hikmah and all of it is ways that the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has recited. So they all have, inshallah ta'ala, the way that we have to, bi'idhnillah, follow, inshallah ta'ala. But some of them, they do bring the meaning. Like when just the examples I've given you. وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقٍ كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى. When you do it, sometimes it does bring the attention and more focus and it presents the meaning sometimes better. Yes, depending, of course, on if you have the way of presenting in recitation, which everyone should have, which is called ada', inshallah ta'ala. So, what I just did, the example I've given, which is doing the ikhfa when I join the two verses, is not allowed in the way or in the recitation of Hafs. Is that clear, my brothers and sisters? Is it clear now, sisters? Good. Now, what do I do then? You have two options. Option one is to follow the sunnah, which is to stop at the end of every verse. Does that mean joining the verses is against the sunnah? No, but if I'm reading hadr, you can join the verses. Lakin it is sunnah, and the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam liked to recite slow and prolong and stop at the end of every verse. So if option one was the first example I've gave, which was, I'll repeat it, الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. I'm showing I took a breath because of the sister that they can't see. قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا. Yes, now this is the normal recitation. I stopped, I took a breath and continued. Now the ruling we care about here is the sakt. And this sakt will only be there and it will only be obligatory when you what? Join the two verses. And now I'm going to join them without taking a breath. And I cannot apply ikhfa. So I must pause without taking a breath, then continue. Which is the ruling of sakt. And this is the example of it here, being Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا. And make sure you do not stop on this عوجا with a hamza. Don't say ولم يجعل له عوجا. Don't do this. Yeah? ولم, it's مد عوض, but with a pause. Slight pause without taking a breath. ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر. Did I take a breath? No. قيم, we said ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر. Yes? Is this clear or not? واضح. بارك الله فيك. And sisters, is it clear? جزاك الله وجزاكم الله خيرا. Surah Yasin is the second one. Yes, where we are in verse 52, only if you continue. Yes? Now, of course, my brothers and sisters, I forgot to mention, in the ayahs that I have included in the presentation, you don't see the sign of the sakt there because I didn't have the facility to add the scene above. Yes? And I tried to search on a website to find it if I could copy it, but it wasn't available either. So, in order for you to see the sign we're talking about, you should open the Quran and go to the verse that we have put for you, and you will see it, whether you don't want to do it now or when you go home. La bas. Just pay attention with me, inshallah. So, Surah Yasin, verse 52, if you continue, when you say, قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون. Now here I did a stop because on this مرقدنا, and I highlighted it in red here, the two words we're concerned about. مرقدنا is the first word that you're going to pause on. However, on top of this word مرقدنا, between it and هذا, you do not only have the sign of a sin, which is sakt, you have also qili or qala, which is a sign that means it's better for you to stop, or it is permissible for you to continue, but it's better to what? Stop. Which means, now a side note, it's better for you to stop here anyway, take a breath and then continue. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. سيدنا محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة وبعثه مقام محمود الذي وعدته. جيد. Subhanallah, I just noticed actually that I've skipped a slide. I don't know if you've noticed too, which was the stopping signs. It's a different topic, not sect, so we didn't miss anything. But what I'll do, I'll just drag the slide and put it at the end of the presentation and speak about it maybe next week, inshallah. Yeah. So I'll put sect before it, just so it could be in the pattern that we did it. Sorry. Jayid, so Surah Yasin, verse 52, I'll do it very quick so we can go pray inshallah. If you continue in this verse, if you join this whole verse without stopping, my brothers and sisters, you must apply the ruling of sect, which means it's obligatory, it's not optional, you have to do it. But if you was to stop on that word, marqadina, due to that sign, qili or qala, then you do not need to apply sect, which is obviously the sect drops, and then you continue. Is that clear, my brothers and sisters, or no? Is it clear or not? Sisters? Yes? جيد. So, قالوا أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن. So I did a sect here. Did you notice that I stopped without taking it again? قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن. And you could also stop and take a breath due to if you want to follow the ruling of qili. Yes, saying قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون. Is that clear? Good. Number 3, Surah Al-Qiyamah, verse 27, very famous, when you say وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقَ. You must apply here. It is obligatory. You don't have an option to stop. And if you stop, you need to repeat and then join and then do the ruling of sect. Usually, what will you apply here? مَرَّاق, idgham. But it is what? إظهار مطلق. Or إظهار شاذ. Or إظهار or absolute إظهار, which is which you due to you applying the ruling of sect. So you say وَقِيلَ مَنْ رَاقَ. Did you notice now? Yeah, راق with the qalqal, of course. So you apply the sect between the noon and the ra, inshallah ta'ala. Is that clear, my brothers and sisters? Yes or no? جيد. Going to the last or the fourth example out of the examples of obligatory prolongations, we have Surah Al-Mutaffifin, verse 14. كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ. Again here, you do not have an option. It's obligatory. You must apply sect. And if you cannot, and you cannot stop there, take a breath. If you stop because you wanted to sneeze or something, you go back, join and apply the sect. كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ. Also, this is an exception of the ruling of إدغام اللام الساكنة. Usually we say برّانا if it was going to, yeah? Just like وَقُرْ رَبِّي. Lakin, it's an exception, obviously, due to the ruling of sect, and we do the idhar of Islam. So you say, كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ. Is that clear, my brothers and sisters? Yes or no? Good, good. Now we're going to what? I was going to say, جيد. Like earlier I said, جيد, in the Egyptian accent. جيد. Because you thought of good, then you said, let me say in Arabic, and it came out جيد. جيد, which is the Egyptian way of saying جيد. Jade. Now number 2, I have a habit of saying it, by the way. Permitted or optional sect. So this is optional. You have the option of doing it or not. Number 1 is Surah Al-Anfal. Well, I put it the other way around. I'll change it anyway, just if you want to follow the order of the Quran. We have on the presentation here, when joining Surah Al-Anfal, or any surah before it, with the beginning of Surah At-Tawbah. Now, of course, you cannot join a surah after Surah At-Tawbah, like, for example, at the end of Surah An-Nas, and then join without taking a breath, going back to Surah At-Tawbah. You cannot do this with any Surah An-Nas or any surah after Surah At-Tawbah. But you can join any surah before Surah At-Tawbah, which means Baqarah, Al-Imran, Nisa, Ma'idah, An'am, A'raf, or Anfal. You could join any of those surahs, the end of it, with the beginning of Surah At-Tawbah. La ba's. Yes? But there is a way to do it. So, you have a number of ways. You either do waqf, by what? Stopping, taking a breath. Like the end, let's take the example of reading the end of Surah Al-Anfal, and I want to join it with what? So if I was doing my wird, my normal daily recitation, and I'm reading Surah Al-Anfal and going through to Surah At-Tawbah. I got to the end of Surah Al-Anfal. إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. Now I'm going to start Surah At-Tawbah. There is no basmala. And I don't need to do isti'adah. Yes? بَرَاءَةٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. You take a breath and you continue. That's called waqf. The other option is to join. When you join, you're going to be doing either sakt, or you could also do qalb. Now joining is called wasl, and you'll have to apply the ruling of qalb, which is also known as iqlab, saying إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ بَرَاءَةٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Yes? I joined it, and I gave the ruling of iqlab, or which is known as qalb. Is that clear, my brothers and sisters, or not? Good. So you had to stop, take a breath. That's one option. Number 2, to join and apply the ruling of iqlab. Number 3 is to join and apply sakt, which is saying إِنَّ اللَّهَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ براءة من الله ورسوله إن الله بكل شيء عليم براءة من الله ورسوله. Yes? Is that clear, my brothers and sisters, or not? Yes or no? And you have an option here. It's optional. Then you have Surah Al-Haqqah. It's only when you join verse 28 and 29. And we spoke about this before when we were speaking about the relationship between letters, which is what? The mutamathilan letters, the identical letters. When we say, ما أغنى عني مالية. I took a breath here because I'm doing stopping here. Waqf. You have the option of stopping because it's a sunnah. I want to stop at the end of the verse. So you stop and take a breath. Then you continue. هلك عني سلطانية. But if I join the verse, you have two options. Option one, which was what we studied previously, was to do idgham mutamathilain صغير. Saying ما أغنى عني مالية هلك. Yeah. مالية هلك عني. Again. ما أغنى عني مالية هلك عني سلطانية. The other option we have is to do sakt. And we studied that, I think, or we maybe just mentioned that you could do that. And that is by saying ما أغنى عني مالية هلك عني سلطانية. I paused without taking a breath. Did you notice that? Is everything we spoke about crystal clear, my dear brothers and sisters? Yes or no? Yes? 1 second, yes? Sisters? Good, the questions. The brother had to, sorry. Yes.
You know, you said here is it's not sect, is you don't put that rule in. You said this is it a different, it's not sect, you don't take a pause on this on Surah Al-Haqqah 28.
So the second option,
Yeah.
which was to merge the two hats and idgham mutamathilain صغير, that one you're talking about?
No. Because here it has the symbol of the sect.
Sect, yes.
It has the symbol. So do you take the pause as
Good. The symbol is there, is telling you if you join, you do sect. But you have also an option to do not do sect by doing idgham. And they are both ways for hafs. Yes, and they are both permissible for you to do. You choose the one you want. Now some say the sect is preferred to do. Some say, some books of Tajweed say it's preferred, but Allahu A'lam.
It's in the way that you said, the way that you took the pause the first time when you...
The first time, ما أغنى عني مالية.
But that's the breath.
That's taking a breath. That's normal stopping. Because I want to stop at the end of ayah due to it being sunnah. That's okay. But if you join the ayah, you either merge the two hats, and that will be the ruling of, we studied before, idgham mutamathilain صغير, or idgham mithnain صغير, or you do the other option you have, which is sect.
Yeah, how do you...
Do the sect.
Yeah.
I gave an example of it, saying, ما أغنى عني مالية هلك عن. You pause without taking a breath. Yes? Is everything we spoke about clear? Sisters, any questions? Questions? Jayid. So everything's clear, inshallah? Yes or no? Jayid. You could also look at the third slide, the slide that we've missed, which is basically the stopping signs in the Quran. They all actually are very clear, and they're written for you there, and everything's clear. You don't even need a teacher for that, but I will be repeating them next week anyway. So read upon them, and inshallah ta'ala, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from us. We have 2 minutes until Maghrib, until Isha, sorry. So, جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله فيكم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وجمال الصوت وتزيينه وتغن فيه وتحسينه وسكون وقت تلاوته وتأن عند قراءته.